But then the coldness started. I remember the initial reports when people started showing up in the emergency rooms. At first, everyone thought it was some kind of new flesh-eating virus, but that idea bit it in a hurry, because all of a sudden you had otherwise perfectly healthy, alive human beings walking into emergency rooms with completely dead limbs. Some of them already starting to decompose. And in every single case, remember, it started in whichever hand they'd first touched their dead loved one with. The hand went numb, then turned cold. The coldness then spread up through the arm and into the shoulder. The limbs were completely dead. The only thing the doctors could do was amputate the things. If the person in question had kissed their loved one when they first saw them, the coldness spread down their tongues and into their throats. But mostly it was the hands and arms, and for a while it looked like the amputations were going to do the trick. Then the doctors and nurses who performed the surgery started losing feeling in their hands and arms and shoulders. That's how we found out that whatever it was, the coldness was contagious. So they closed down the emergency rooms and locked up the hospitals and posted the National Guard at the entrances because doctors were refusing to treat anyone who touched one of the dead. Well, the doctors who still had arms and hands, that is. You know, the one thing I have to give us credit for as a species is that the looting wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be. Seems like it didn't take us very long to realize that material possessions and money didn't mean a whole hell of a lot anymore. And that surprised me. I didn't think we had any grace notes left. Bravo for our side, huh? Okay, look, I've got to try and make it to the bathroom. I can at least cut through the production booth, but once out in the hall, I'm wide open for about 5 yards. The thing is, I've been in this booth for 5 days now, and while the food has almost held out, thank God for vending machines and baseball bats, I've been a little too scared to leave, so I've been using my wastebasket for a toilet, and, well, folks, it's getting pretty ripe in here. Especially since the air conditioning conked out 2 days ago. I gotta empty this thing and wash the smell off myself. If you're out there, please don't go away. I'm gonna cue up the CD and play a couple of Beatles songs. Let's say, In My Life and Let It Be. I'm feeling heavy-handed and ironic today, so sue me. If I'm not back by the time they're over, odds are I ain't gonna be. So light a penny candle for me, folks, and stay tuned. Jesus H. Christ, on a crutch, I made it. You know, it was kind of touch and go there for a minute, or rather not touch, if you get me, but here I am with a gladder bladder and clean hands and face, so we're not finished yet, folks. There's still some fight left. Okay, I guess I need to tell you a little bit about our receptionist here at WeGab Radio. Her name's Laura McCoy. Oh, God, she's one of the sweetest people I've ever met, and if it weren't for her, most days at this station would be bedlam without the sharp choreography. Laura has always been, I guess, a tad on the large side. She once smiled at me and said she didn't mind the word fat. Laura has always been on the large side, but God damn it, she's pretty. She's tried a couple of times to go on diets and lose weight, but they've never worked, and I, for one, am glad. I don't think she'd be half so pretty if she lost the weight. Laura's husband, this prince of all asswipes named Jerry, left her about 10 months ago after 15 years of marriage. Seems he'd been having an affair with a much younger co-worker for going on 3 years. Laura never suspected a thing. That's how true and trusting a soul she was. The divorce devastated her, we all knew it, but she was never less than professional and pleasant here at the station. Still, whenever there was any downtime, no calls coming in, no papers to be filed, no toured groups coming through, no DJs having nervous breakdowns, a lot of us began to notice this stillness about her. It was like if she wasn't busy, then some memory had a chance to sneak up and break her heart all over again. So we here at the station were worried. I asked her out for coffee one night after my shift. Now, I made sure she knew it wasn't a date. It was just two friends having coffee and maybe some dessert. Laura was always incredibly shy when dealing with anyone outside of her job. The whole time we were having coffee, she spent more time looking at her hands folded in her lap than she did at me. When she spoke, her voice was always so soft and sad. Even when she and Jerry were together, her voice had that sad quality to it. Except at work. At work, she spoke clearly and confidently. Sometimes I thought she was only alive when on the job. I said that to her the night we went out for coffee. This was, about 8 months after the divorce, I guess. And for the first time that night, she looked right at me and she said, "Dave, you know, you're absolutely right. I love working at the station. That job and the people there are the only things I've ever been able to depend on. That's very important to me now." And after that, things were a lot better for a while. Laura took her 2-week vacation just before everything started. And all the panic and confusion and martial law, which didn't exactly take very well, as you might recall, no one thought to call and check on her. She said she was going up to Maine to visit with her sister, so I guess most of us just figured, or at least hoped, that she'd made it to her sister's place before all hell broke loose. 2 days ago, Laura came back to work. I can look over the console and through the window of the broadcast booth and see her sitting there at her desk. She's wearing one of her favorite dresses, and she's gotten a manicure. Maybe the manicure came before the Great Awakening, but it looks to me like the nail polish was freshly applied before she came in. And I might add, she drove her car to work. God, I remember how excited I was to see that car driving up the road. It meant there was someone else still alive, and they'd thought to come here and check on me. And I can see her very clearly sitting there at her desk. About 1/3 of her head is missing. My guess is she used either a shotgun or a pistol with a hollow point bullet. My guess is that this sweet, pretty woman who was always so shy around other people was a hell of a lot more heartbroken than any of us suspected or even wanted to imagine. My guess is she came back here because this station, this job, her place at that desk, these things were all she had left to look forward to. Oh, I wish I'd been kinder to her. I wish I had been so quick to think that our little chat helped, so I didn't have to give her pain or her a second thought. I wish, God, I wish I'd told her that she wouldn't be as pretty if she lost the weight. I wish, shit, give me a minute. Okay, sorry about that. 40, fucking 3 years old and crying like a goddamn baby for its bottle. I'm losing a little ground here, folks. Because when I look out at Laura, there at her desk, and I remember Sarah Grant walking up to her family's home, and realize how many of the dead have been able to come back, have been able to walk or drive, or in some cases take the goddamn bus back home. When I think of how they recognize us, how they remember us, you see, the thing is, Laura used to always bring in homemade cookies, chocolate chip cookies, every week, and no one made cookies like Laura did. I mean, nobody. She'd always wrap them individually and wrap in wax paper, and then lay them out on a tray, cover the tray with tin foil, and put a little Christmas-type bow on top. There's a tray of homemade cookies sitting out there on her desk, all wrapped and covered and sporting its bow. Half her fucking brain is gone, splattered over a wall in her house, and she still remembered to make cookies. Is this getting through to you, folks? The dead remember everything. It doesn't matter if they've been in the ground 10 years or crawl out of a drawer in the morgue before anyone can identify them. They remember, all of them. Is this sinking in yet? Doesn't it scare the piss out of you? Look, if they can crawl out of a grave after 10 years of being worm food and volleyball courts for maggots and still remember where they lived and who they loved and all of it, then it means those memories, those intangible bits and pieces of consciousness and ether that we're told are all part and parcel of this mystical thing called a soul. It means they never went anywhere after they died. Didn't return to humus or dissipate into the air or take possession of bright-eyed little girls like in the movies. It just hung around like a vagrant outside a bus station on Friday night. Which means there's nothing after we die. Which means there's no God. Which means this life is it. And doesn't that suck, the big one? Karma is just the punchline of a bad stand-up routine, and every spiritual teaching ever drilled into our brains is bullshit. So Mark Twain was right after all. Remember the ending of The Mysterious Stranger? There is no purpose, no reason, no God, no devil, no angels or ghosts or ultimate meaning. Existence is a lie, prayer is an obscene joke. There is just nothing. Life and love are only baubles and trinkets and costumes we use to hide this fact from ourselves. The universe was a mistake. And we, dear friends, we were a fucking accident. That's what it means. And that makes me so sick because I was kind of hoping, you know?